Neville Goddard, Radio Lectures, 1951. This would be number 6, Truth. Approximately July 1951. Radio Talk, station KECA, Los Angeles, California. I wish to ask each one of you listening to me today a question which must be close to the hearts of us all concerning truth. If a man known to you as a murderer broke into your home and asked the whereabouts of your mother, would you tell him where she was? Would you tell him the truth? Would you? I venture not, I hope not. In the most mystical of the Gospels, in the Gospel of St. John, we read, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Therein lies a challenge to us all. The truth shall make you free. If you told the truth concerning your mother, would you set her free? Again, in John we read, "Sanctify them by the truth." If you gave your mother up to a murderer, would you sanctify her? What then is the truth of which the Bible so constantly speaks? The truth of the Bible is always coupled with love. The truth of the Bible is that spiritual realization of conscious life in God towards which the human soul evolves through all eternity. Repeating the sentence, profound. The truth of the Bible is always coupled with love. The truth of the Bible is that spiritual realization of conscious life in God towards which the human soul evolves through all eternity. Evolves. Truth is an ever-increasing illumination. No one who seeks sincerely for truth need fear the outcome forever. For every raising erstwhile truth brings into view some larger truth which it had hidden. The true seeker after truth is not a smug, critical, holier-than-thou person. Rather, the true seeker after truth knows the words of Zechariah to be true. Quote, "Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor, and let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor." End quote. The seeker after truth does not judge from appearances. He sees the good, the truth in all he observes. He knows that a true judgment need not conform to the external reality to which he relates. Never are we so blind to the truth as when we see things as they seem to be. Only pictures that idealize really depict the truth. It is never superior insight, but rather purblindness that reads into the greatness of another some littleness with which it happens to be familiar. We all know at least one petty gossip who not only imagines evil against his neighbor, but also insists upon spreading that evil far and wide. His cruel accusations are always accompanied by the statement, "It's a fact," or "I know it's the truth." How far from the truth he is, even if it were the truth as he knows the truth, it's better not to voice it, for a truth told with bad intent beats all the lies you can invent. Never heard that one before. A truth told with bad intent beats all the lies you can invent. Such a man is not a seeker after the truth as revealed in the Bible. He seeks not truth so much as support for his own point of view. By his prejudices, he opens a door by which his enemies enter and make their own the secret places of his heart. Let us seek sincerely for the truth as Robert Browning expresses it. Truth is within ourselves. It take no rise from outward things, whatever you may believe. There is an immortal center in us all where truth abides in fullness. The truth that's a very fascinating poem. Truth is within ourselves. It takes no rise from outward things, whatever you may believe. There is an immortal center in us all where truth abides in fullness. Boom, My Father and I are one. My Father is greater than I. I and my Father are one. My Father is greater than I. There is an immortal center in us all, where truth abides in fullness. The truth that is within us is governed by imaginative love. Knowing this great truth, we can no longer imagine evil against any neighbor. Very, very true. Period. Exclamation point. Full stop. End of quotes. Underline. Bold. All caps. We will imagine the best of our neighbor. Let me repeat this little tiny paragraph. It's beautiful. The truth that is within us is governed by imaginative love. Knowing this great truth, we can no longer imagine evil against any neighbor. We will imagine the best of our neighbor. It is my belief that whatever man's attitude towards life is governed by imaginative love. There it is religious. There he worships. There he perceives the truth. I am going to speak on this subject next Sunday morning when my title will be Imaginative Love. At that time, I am to have the pleasure and the privilege of taking Dr. Frederick Bell's service at the Fox Wilshire Theater on Wilshire Boulevard near La Cienega. The service will be held as Dr. Bell's always conducts it at 10:30 in the morning. It is an intuitive desire of all mankind to be a finer, nobler being, to do the loving thing. But we can do the loving thing only when all we imagine is full of love for our neighbor. Very important sentence. It is an intuitive desire of all mankind to be a finer, nobler being, to do the loving thing. But we can do the loving thing only when but we can do the loving thing only when all we imagine is full of love for our neighbor. Then we know the truth that sets all mankind free. I believe this is a message that will aid us all in the art of living a better and finer life. Infinite love in unthinkable origin was called God the Father. Infinite love in creative expression was called God the Son. Infinite love in universal interpenetration, in infinite eminence, and in eternal procession was called God the Holy Ghost. We must learn to know ourselves as infinite love, as good rather than evil. This is not something that we have to become. It is rather for us to recognize something that we are already. With that mission, that paragraph right there, with that mission, it is very difficult to watch this little entertaining thing that you look into. you put your attention on. It's got some rabbit ears on top. It's got a dial on it, and it's got this big screen there. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of what we just read in that paragraph coming out of that box. Or this other thing called the tube, where it has a video and it has all these other little recommended videos under it. You watch the thing you're looking for, this great, wonderful video, this great subject, whatever it is that is fulfilling your idea. Then you have all these recommendations. Are those recommendations what you were looking for when you went there in the first place? If they're not, they don't deserve your attention. That last paragraph we just read, this doesn't deserve your attention unless it's in line with what we just read. We must learn, I'm going to read the last sentence again. We must learn to know ourselves as infinite love, as good rather than evil. This is not something that we have to become. It is rather for us to recognize something that we are already. And if you're filling in the imaginative space constantly with data, information is not in line with that, then would you be surprised if you were in a quandary on manifesting for yourself? If you are not thinking on things that are lovely, of good rapport. Because you're filling in the imaginative space that you have power of to use to any manifestation. You're filling it in with stuff out from the world. The original birthplace of imagination is in love. Love is its lifeblood. Insofar as imagination retains its own life's blood, its visions are images of truth. Then it mirrors the living identity of the thing it beholds. But if imagination should deny the very power that has brought it to birth, then the direst sort of horror will begin. Instead of rendering back living images of the truth, imagination will fly to love's opposite, fear, and its visions will then be perverted and contorted reflections cast upon a screen of frightful fantasy. As I was just mentioning, instead of being the supremely creative power, it will become the active agent of destruction. Wherever man's attitude to life is truly imaginative, there man and God are merged in creative unity. Remember that love is always creative, causative in every sphere, from the highest to the very lowest. There never has existed thought, word, or deed that was not caused by love, or by its opposite, fear of some kind, even if it were only a desire of a not very worthy aim. Love and fear are the mainspring of our mental machinery. Everything is a thought before it becomes a thing. I suggest the pursuit of a high ideal to make a fact of being become a fact of consciousness, and to do this by training the imagination to realize that the only atmosphere in which we truly live and move and have our being is infinite love. God is love. Love never faileth. Infinite creative spirit is love. The urge that caused infinite unconditioned consciousness to condition itself into millions of sensitive forms is love. Love regarded as an abstraction apart from an object is unthinkable. Love regarded as an abstraction apart from an object is unthinkable. Love is not love if there is no beloved. In other words, love can't exist without you. Oh boy. Love only becomes thinkable in relation, in process, in act. Let us recognize with Blake that he who will not live by love must be subdued by fear. We're not subdued by fear. We're not subdued by fear. We're not subdued by fear. Subdued. We are love. I and my Father are one. My Father is greater than I. The conceiver and its conception are one. The conceiver is greater than the conception. The dreamer and the dream are one. The dreamer is greater than the dream. Let us recognize with Blake that he who will not live by love must be subdued by fear, and set ourselves the highest of ideals to love and to live by. As I say over and over, imagine lovingly. Forgiveness means imagine lovingly. But our highest ideals do not bless unless they come down and take on flesh. That means you make them a reality. It becomes an experience. We must make results and accomplishments the crucial test of our imagination and our love. For incarnation is the only true realization. Our faithfulness must be to the sum of all the truth we know, and it must be absolute. Otherwise, that truth lacks a vehicle and cannot be incarnated in us. Our concept of ourselves determines the scenery of our lives. We are ever our own jailers. The prison doors we thought closed are truly ajar, waiting for us to see the truth. Man ever surrounds himself with the true image of himself, said Emerson. Every spirit builds itself a house, and beyond its house a world, and beyond its world a heaven. Know then that the world exists for you. For you, the phenomenon is perfect. What we are that only we can see. Or what we are that only can we see. All that Adam had, all the Caesar could, you have and can do. Adam called his house heaven and earth. Caesar called his house Rome. You perhaps call yours a cobbler's trade, or 100 acres of land, or a scholar's garret. Yet line for line and point for point, your dominion is as great as theirs. Though without such fine names, build therefore your own world, and as fast as you build therefore your own world, and as fast as you conform your life to the pure idea in your mind, that will unfold its great proportions. The truth is our secret inward reality, the cause, the meaning, the relation of our lives to all things. Let the truth carry us heavenwards, expanding our conceptions, increasing our understanding until we know the truth and are made free. Man, oh man. Wow. Neville throwing down. Quick radio blast. Radio lecture number 6, truth. Again, these might not be in order, but it doesn't matter. That was a good lecture. Oh my goodness. Again, driving along with your push button radio, if you remember those. I learned on a 3-in-a-tree car, which had the gear shifter on the column, of course, clutch, and then the radio in this 63 Nova that I learned in had these push buttons. So to get a radio station, you pushed the button, so it brought the tuner to the memorized point. So you had like 5 buttons, and you pushed what you memorized. You could memorize a new radio station, or you had the volume on this side and the tuner on this side, so you could turn the dial to move this thing to catch the radio station. And again, that was 1963 that I'm talking about, the car that I learned to drive in. He's giving this radio lecture in 51, but I can only imagine that older car that I grew up in dialing in that station. Just a wild idea to hear Neville and to be going, oh my goodness, what is this guy talking about? Wow, I like that. Whew. Okay, we're going to see you in the next one.